Hey guys, there tends to be two schools of thought when it comes to popcorn ceilings. Either the conventional wisdom is to remove it or to tile or plank it. And what if I had a secret way of concealing the ceiling without removal, without planking or tiling? So in this video we're going to talk about that, specifically concealing a ceiling. Yes!
Be dead.
No more rhymes now, I mean it!
Anybody want a peanut? Ah!
So, if you like the content I've been putting out, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you'll get an alert every time a new video is uploaded. And this channel is dedicated to those that like to fix, make, and restore things. And I'll put a link up here that references the prior video and why I'm doing this. Specifically, it's a new home office. So stick around to the end and I'll share some tips and tricks and lessons learned about how to conceal a ceiling. So thanks for sticking around. Yeah, if you stick around to the end, I'll share some tips and tricks, but basically you're going to take joint compound and you're going to put a base coat on here and basically just cover up the popcorn ceiling. It's really forgiving. And if you've ever had experience mudding and taping, you know, with seams, it can be sometimes a little bit less forgiving, but not in this case. So you can see a dramatic difference right away when I'm putting on the mud. And you probably will have to do some spot sanding. I certainly did. And just where you had some uneven spots. And it does get really dusty here, so I'd recommend a mask. Luckily, there's lots of masks going around these days, so that wasn't a problem. In fact, I had to take off my safety glasses at one point because it was so dusty. And you might want to do 10 or 15-minute breaks just to let the dust settle. But in terms of pros and cons, basically, this was so fast and you don't have to worry about revealing something underneath that might require a lot of patchwork. So in terms of the pros and cons of using this method, that's basically where I'm at. And then I painted it, and stick around to the end. I'll share some tips and tricks. So after mudding and sanding and painting, we turned off the power and took off the old light kit and put on a new light kit. I really like it. Mid-century modern, and I think it's a nice fresh look. But I'm going to show you some tips and tricks and lessons learned about this process. And we'll start with the tools and materials. So bear with me. This one bucket is heavy. All right, there it is. It's the ultra lightweight joint compound, and sometimes they call it mud or skim coat, and it's really all the same thing. And in terms of tools, I used some taping knives for drywall, and this is a 4-inch knife, and this is a 14-inch knife. And the only other thing that I used besides sandpaper and a palm sander was this tray. So this is a painter's tray or a mud tray, whatever you want to call it. By the way, I really wish they called this butter instead of mud, because I mean, popcorn ceiling, butter. All right, I'm just gonna amuse myself. Anyway, the only reason I ever used the 4-inch knife, frankly, was to scoop out of the bucket and to put the mud into the tray, unless there was a hard to reach area, and then I would use the 4-inch knife. Otherwise, it was the 14-inch knife that I used. And so I'm gonna explain some things because they don't really always seem intuitive if you don't have a lot of experience with mudding and taping. And so here's the tray, here's the 14-inch knife. So basically, you're gonna scoop the mud out of the tray. You can do a pretty liberal amount, probably even more than that, to be honest with you. And then you're gonna apply it onto the popcorn ceiling at a pretty, fairly shallow angle. And part of the reason you want to put it on the end is that as you apply pressure on the ceiling, the mud tends to move down the taping knife, and it can fall off the top edge of the taping knife, and so then it gets a little sloppy. So you always want to start with it on the end, and you can kind of keep applying it, but try to make sure it doesn't drop off towards the top edge, and then after that you'll scrape it off, and then I know it doesn't seem that intuitive, but then you'll get some more, put it on the end, scrape it off. I mean apply it, scrape it off, yeah, like that. So keep doing that. And then if you want to put a finer point on subsequent coats, then you may have to put it not only on the end, but one side of the taping knife versus the other. So as you apply pressure to one side of the taping knife, you can feather the mud out so that the mud tends to go down the trailing edge as you're applying pressure, and you don't have too much mud falling off the trailing edge. So that's a way to kind of, if you have sort of an uneven amount of mud applied, you can put a finer point and kind of control what you're putting on there. And frankly, this project, it's pretty forgiving. You might have to do some spot sanding, really, just to sand the maybe some trouble spots, but it's pretty easy. It is pretty easy, yeah. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I was surprised. So good luck with that. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, or shoot me an email. Thanks a lot, guys.